and you can fix this one up, take her to the south side of Chicago, and make some money.
We're in an auction today to see if you can find a better deal here than you can on Facebook Marketplace. So let's go check it out. The weather was poor when we arrived early in the morning, but already a large group of tool buyers had assembled where they were starting to buy different equipment and implements and tractors and skid steers and that sort of thing. To get to the cars, you had to cross a small stream that they'd set a metal plate across to make the crossing easier, and after you trounced up a muddy hill, you arrived at the site of what really looked more like a junkyard than a car collection. We quickly got to work, taking a look around. We immediately came across this absolutely gorgeous 1959 Buick. It was a 4-door, engine still in it, complete, ready to go. Probably make a good project car, and it actually had the title with it, which was very exciting.
Can you smell it? Come smell it. It reeks.
Overall, it wasn't in great condition, but I would say it certainly, had parts there that were usable, if nothing else. And maybe, one day it could have been put back on the road. And I was really impressed with the thickness of the doors. Extremely thick door, but it was almost totally complete. It had the engine and everything in it. All the bright work was there. I mean, it was ready to go.
It looks basically complete, dude.
We walked around for a while, familiarizing ourselves with the area, and we came across this great school bus, and then we were on to looking at a very interesting Suzuki.
It's got what?
Looks like a bullet hole.
That's fine. It's normal. you can fix that. Dude, this thing's cool as hell, man. You should definitely buy this one.
Just like the Buick, the Suzuki was in really good shape. I actually really took a shine to it.
The Suzuki Samurai, dog. It's a cool car. You got the little seat in the back. This one's stick shift too. This would be nice, man. You should buy this one.
And I actually kind of crawled down underneath to take a quick video underneath to see if there was any rust or major damage. And honestly, reviewing the footage, it doesn't seem like there's much. When you look underneath, you can see it's still got a frame rails, and the body mounts don't look bad. I think this one was totally savable, and it would probably make a great project. And I did everything I could to convince my friend to buy it.
Yeah, dude, you should definitely get one of these. Maybe not this one. You should definitely buy one of these.
Suzuki Samurai.
Yeah, dude, they're cool as hell.
I do like the size.
Japanese engineering, bro.
And immediately next to that was this really awesome Jeep mail car. This thing's just absolutely killer. The sliding door, and this is actually one of 2 Jeeps that we'll see today. Both of them are super cool and definitely worth a check out. So I definitely took some interest in this one. Looking at the interior, it's very Spartan, definitely interesting. You could imagine delivering your letters in that thing would be one heck of an adventure. Then we looked at some more late model 70s, early 70s cars. That was really the vast majority of the cars in the collection were these kind of mid 70s boats, but still really a lot of neat cars around. But if you think, look at the Coronet we came across next, Coronet 440. Of course, it's not got a 440 in it. It's a model name. It's got a small block in it, but it's still a cool car. It got hit in the side, it looks like, and parked out here. But again, all complete. Damaged, but complete. It's got the engine in it and everything, ready to go. Somebody wanted to haul that thing out of there. A persistent theme throughout the journey was really a lot of rust damage on the bodies. Nothing was preserved well. It was all kept out in the field. So, I think a lot of these cars are definitely parts cars. A lot of them are going to the crusher, most likely. There's not a lot left to be saved here, but there are definitely a couple cars here today that we saw that definitely, I think, had a chance at coming back. Do I think this is one of them? Probably not, with the body damage and the amount of rust, but it's still a really cool car, and I definitely think, there's definitely some parts that are worthwhile. Next up, we saw a 4-door Impala with the engine missing. If you wanted to go the whole Easy E route, this is definitely the car you'd want to grab. Just a 4-door, but still, the interior was nice enough, and I think if you could throw a big block in it or something interesting, maybe it'd be worthwhile. But again, very rough shape, body all around is just stored out in the woods, and you can only get so far with that. So a lot of the moss growing on the roof was very interesting to see, but kind of tragic in a way to see how far it's deteriorated.
When was it last registered? 2002. 2-door. This is actually kind of sick.
Next up was a really cool Volvo, and I was actually really interested in this one. This was one of the ones that seemed a little bit newer, hadn't set out as long. It had some minor body damage, but really, from the looks of it, was very complete, and I imagine would have made a good project for someone. This was my favorite car of the day. I absolutely fell in love with this Jeep van. It was some kind of mail delivery truck or something like that, maybe a milk truck. It had a lot of milk crates in the back, but this thing was just so cool.
Yeah, what the hell am I looking at? Is it like a mail truck or something? It must be. Yeah, it's a mail truck.
It is?
Yeah, because it's got the steering wheel on the other side.
Oh, okay.
You got your parcels there. Yeah, dude, it's a shaggin' wagon for sure. Somebody already thought of my idea. They beat me to it, Brett. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Oh, this thing's cool. You should buy this one, Brett.
This section of the yard next to the Jeep had a few Fords that I think were worthwhile. The Galaxy was in okay shape. The Falcon was not. The Falcon, the floors were totally gone, but it was still very, you know, aesthetically pleasing car. And then the LTD next to it was somebody's race car. At some point, it had full roll cage and everything in it. So
This was supposed to be like not stylish, like very utilitarian,
Yeah, it looks-
and even now it looks good as hell. Yeah. So, yeah, it's got a tiny little straight six, dude. Oh no. This one ain't the one though. It's got well, no floors anywhere. Like there's no floor. Like look, that's a goddamn Flintstone mobile. Yeah, you took a picture. Yeah, so this one isn't the one to buy, but it's still cool. And it's stripped down. This was definitely somebody's race car for at least a little bit. And there's a dope turtle shell in there, dude. Peep that. Check that out. Turtle shell is. You should just take that. I don't think we have to pay for that. See, this has got patina. This is the kind of patina people are looking for. Where like it's burned through the color, and then you get that like primer red and like rust underneath.
the patina on the Galaxy was just something else. I mean, beautiful patina on that car. Definitely me, you know, I don't know what it looked like underneath, but it could have been a builder for sure, just based on the aesthetics. Definitely a gorgeous car. This Vega also had its title, and I think it was a really cool looking car, really handsome. You know, a lot of the Vegas and the Pintos and that sort of car get a lot of hate, but I think they look really nice. I think they're quite smart looking. I definitely think this one would have been a builder. You know, you could throw a V8 in there under the hood and just get to rip it. I definitely think it's a very neat car, definitely worth saving, and it'd be interesting to see how much it sells for.
Oh, that door is not good though.
Another car I was very excited to see was this Dodge Dart Swinger, a 1972 Dodge Dart. Very nice looking, beautiful green color with a bit of patina, a lot of rust. Just looking underneath and in the engine bay, I don't think this one was savable due to the frame rot that I saw, but still super neat to see.
That's certainly an aftermarket gas cap because of the fuel
Like the
crisis.
70s
Yeah, the
crisis
70s
or-
crisis. That's actually a really cool thing that you noticed.
Yeah.
Last but not least was this Chevelle we came across, four-door Chevelle, definitely in rough shape, but engine and transmission in there, complete, ready to go. And as soon as we were done with looking at that, we
Nope,
took a
that's
brief
not coming up.
break, and then it was time for selling the cars. It was time for the auction. So it started fast and quick, and they sold them quick. They ran through them. It only took like an hour and a half to sell like 80 or 90 cars. It moved fast. It was one after another. They just ran down the rows. They were numbered, and they just went down the row. Whoever bid the highest got the bill of sale right then and there. They handed it to them. If they had a title, they got the title there. They wrote their number on it, told them to come back and pick it up within a few days. That was that. I mean, you were buying them quick and fast, and you had to be on your toes. You know, people would outbid you immediately, and you had to decide, you know, whether or not you were going to bid them up or not quick. And a few times people didn't commit as fast as they needed to, and they were outbid, and then before they could raise their hand and call their number again, that was it. It was sold. So, you know, I think at this thing, speed is definitely of the priority, and you definitely need to know your limits and how much you're willing to spend, and have an idea before a car goes up, because it seems like a lot of the guys were impulse buying, and it didn't seem to really work out great for them.
That was way too nice to hit the crusher, guys. That was all complete. 59 Buick. I mean, you'd be the talk of the town, Nathan. I'll tell you, you pull the motor out of that, put your team in front of it. Take it down the road. That would be some. You'd be the talk of the community. I don't know what it would be, but you would be.
The 59 Buick was one of the first cars for sale. It went up for auction, and this one did fetch a higher price. A lot of people were really interested in this. Again, it had the title with it. I think it's a good buy. A gentleman ended up buying it, and I spoke with him, and he said his plan was to cut up the rear quarters, part it out, and had a lot of good bright work, and I think he's definitely going to make quite a few nice cars out of this one and help some other people with their restoration projects. You know, and again, a lot of the older folks, you know, they see a four-door and they think it's not worth it, so that's probably the mindset going into it. So he's going to cut it up, but I think it was really interesting car, and it could have been a good builder for someone. Again, it had the title and everything.
Maybe 9.5 down here, 9.5 down here, maybe 9.5, 9.5, title's here, 9.5 with the title. $9,000. Do you have now 1,100? Do you 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, you wish you had. You 11, 11, 11, 1,100. You 11, 11, 11, 1,100. Sold it to him on Rio.
You know, if you go out to these things, again, $1,000 for the Buick. So, you know, there are deals out there for if you're into 59 Buick. Again, I couldn't see underneath, couldn't see the frame, couldn't see how bad the body was. But it was all complete. Everything was there. So definitely interesting. Definitely something to go check out if you see an ad in the paper. Next up was the Suzuki Samurai, and it sold fast and it sold cheap. So did the Jeep next to it. The buyer of the Suzuki Samurai was buyer number 57, who bought the vast majority of cars. And he's a scrapper, and he said he's got over 500 cars on his property, and he just hoards them. He said some of them he'll crush, but most of them he just keeps, and he just keeps them around. And I imagine when he passes away, all these cars are just going to get recycled back into the same kind of auction scenario. And it makes me curious to think how many times were these cars sold and resold in this exact fashion? Like, is this guy the original owner of all these cars? I doubt it. I bet he went to estate auctions, bought them, took them here, dropped them off, and let them rot in the field, just like that guy was going to do. And, how many different times are these cars going to get passed this way before, they just finally rot into the earth or get crushed? It's definitely something, I think is really interesting. How many layers deep does it go? But yeah, the Suzuki sold extremely cheap.
53. Yes, sir.
What's your plans on that one, sir?
Get running, drive.
Looks pretty cool, man. Congratulations. That's a pretty sick one.
A lot of the people there were really nice when you got to know them. After they knew that you weren't after a car that they were after, they got to chatting with you, and they were all very friendly. And it was a really great experience to meet a lot of these people. They were really cool people. A lot of people who are into weird cars, who are into buying projects and stuff like that. A lot of like-minded folks, and a lot of folks that are just there for scrap or demo derbies, that sort of thing. And those people are there for a different reason. But there was a few people there that were looking for really cool project cars, and it was really nice to meet those folks and chat. Up next was the Vega, and it sold for $325 to a buyer that just intended to flip it. I mean, there are deals out there. This Vega had a title and everything ready to go. I think if you pull it out of here, put some wheels on it, shine it up a little bit, you could put it on Facebook Marketplace and get at least $1,000 for it. If you're willing to go through that trouble, maybe even more. And it'd be a great project car for somebody out there. So I really hope whoever ends up buying it from the fella enjoys it and gets it back on the road. The Dodge Dart ended up selling for only $400, which I thought was a really great deal. I mean, it had some pretty extensive rust and everything, but it was still a really cool car. And again, sold to buyer number 57. He bought the vast majority of cars there that day.
Sold it to you, 2.5. Oh, does it run? It run the last time it drove, I'll tell you that. I got something right here now, $1,100. Guys, good old hot rod right there now, good old two-door solid car. I got something right here now, $1,100. Sold it to you, $1,000. Scared them to death, didn't you? 53 the buyer, 53 the buyer.
There's actually no bidding on the Coronet. Dustin dropped out an offer of $1,000 to start, and nobody wanted to top that, and he got the car right then and there. It was that easy, $1,000 out the door.
Who would have do 25? Who would have do 25, 25? Who would have do 25? My goodness, sold for 200. Excuse me, 125. Give me $100. 169, 169.
Now this one I was really excited for, the selling of this Jeep. I really thought this Jeep was neat, and I knew that it was probably going to be one of the higher dollar amounts we see today, just because there was a lot of interest and a lot of chatter.
Quarter, half, 75, and now 5, now quarter, 7 and a half, $1,000. No, it's not 11, not 12, 12, 12, 12, not 12. 1,500, not 17, 17, not 17, 17, not 17. That's 17, not 17, 17, 17, 17, 17 for 1,500. 53. Right here.
God, you got it, buddy. You got the shaggin' wagon.
Gave too much for it.
That's okay. You got it. Yeah, he got every car he wanted to that day, and I think that's definitely a strategy, just to throw out a higher number, give them shock. Because if they bid it up in increments, people are more willing to think and to take that offer. But he was willing to just bust out dollar amounts out there, throw out a dollar amount. 1,500, 1,000 people caught him off guard, and he got the cars he wanted. And I think he, felt he overpaid, but still he had a really cool project at the end of the day. Those two Jeeps, the Coronet. I think, and it was really nice to meet Dustin. He was just a great guy. It's definitely an opportunity to meet a lot of cool car people. Dustin was a really nice guy. The guy that was parting out the Buick was another great guy. He also purchased the Chevelle. Really cool people. I think everybody's there to have a good time.
4.5, sell $400.
There's definitely an atmosphere of competitiveness, but it's not overwhelming. Unless you're in the middle of a bidding war with someone, I didn't see any animosity between people. People were willing to chat. People were very friendly. I approached a lot of people. I asked them, what they were interested in, and as soon as they learned I wasn't interested in what they were interested in, they were very willing to make friends.
300 Sell it to you, 2.5, 57.
The Chevelle sold for $225. The Buick sold for $1,000. The Suzuki sold for $225. The Jeep sold for $325. The Vega sold for $325. The Dodge Dart sold for $400. The Malibu sold for $250. The Coronet sold for $1,000. The Impala sold for $200. The Volvo sold for $100. The Wagon Jeep sold for $1,500. The Galaxy sold for $250. The Falcon sold for $400. The LTD sold for $250. So in summation, I think that these auctions are definitely worthwhile to check out, and you absolutely should. If you see one in your area that has cars that you're interested in, I would head down there, get a number, and you never know. I mean, some of these cars probably were definitely in buildable shape. Maybe could have been. Some were very rough, to be fair, and some sold for very rough prices. I mean, you can't find these kind of deals on Facebook Marketplace. These are below scrap prices. People are paying these prices with the intention to make profit on scrap. So here on these, you're bidding at that kind of level, you can definitely get a deal here. Just know what you're looking at and be ready to crawl underneath something to get some ticks. And at the end of the day, I do think it's probably more worthwhile to get a car that you spend a few thousands on, or, even up to like $5,000 on, to get something that's more cromulent, better in shape, less bodywork to be done, because unless you're really good at bodywork, a lot of these cars are going to be extremely hard to save, and these are just in rough shape. So, I would err on the side of maybe spend a little more to save yourself some more down the road, because a lot of these cars are going to take a lot of work. Again, most of them not salvageable, definitely going to the crusher, a few of them going to demo derby, that sort of thing. Only a few there were even worthwhile as far as project cars go, unless you had really extensive shop and really were to put a lot of time and money into. Thanks again to my friend Brett for coming out with me and accompanying me. Thanks again to all the people who put on the auction. You all were amazing. It was a really amazing auction. Had a great time. I've never been to one of these before, and I felt very welcome. And thanks to all the cool buyers here who were willing to be my friend and entertain me and humor me, especially the ones that gave interviews and were willing to be friends. So appreciate everyone's time here. It was really great. I'm glad I went, and I hope you guys are inspired by this and are willing to go out and try one of these things yourself. Again, there's definitely projects out there, so hope you guys enjoyed. See you on the next one.